Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go. Before we begin this episode, we would like to offer a content warning for explicit language used. We apologize. We know we attempt to be family-friendly at all times, but sometimes games are just a little too big and a little too emotional, and our language gets away from us. So if you don't want anyone listening that has sensitive ears, we apologize for the R-rated word language that is yet to follow. Otherwise, enjoy, and thank you for listening. Hello, welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner Podcast. As always, Matt and Brandon are here. This week, we're joined by a fella who's been on plenty of times before, but not a whole lot this season. Please welcome the FC Fanatic, Matt Huber.
Good to be back, guys. How's it going? How are we feeling this beautiful Tuesday?
I think you know exactly how we feel, fellow beer guardian.
Yes. Yes.
Beer guardians of the city.
That's right. Yeah. It was a good game to be down there.
Yeah, good game to be anywhere, really. I mean, not a bad seat in the odd, which you guys know. But, yeah, the beer garden was definitely a place to be last night.
Yeah, I'll just say, my throat's still scratchy and sore from last night. My abs hurt from yelling so much. I ran for the first time in I don't know how long.
Yes, I happened to catch that.
I don't know. When someone says run with it, all your adrenaline and emotions are going. You're just like, someone say to do something? Okay.
Okay, I do the thing. Let's go.
Yep, that happened to last year for the relay race. Hadn't run in a year, and people told me to do it, and I'm like, hey, and we all know what happened.
Yeah, that didn't work out well for you.
No, ow.
It did
Laughing hurts. But guys, we get to recap a thrilling come-from-behind victory for Utica for the second week in a row. This one even bigger because it's in the playoffs, as Utica came all the way back from another 3-0 deficit to win 7-6 in overtime against the Kansas City Comets,
who we have not played since 2019, if I remember correctly. No,
2020.
2020. Sorry.
Yeah, they said March 8th, 2020.
Yeah, which I think is really silly that we haven't played them at all, considering, they're in our division. But what do I know? But yes, on topic, amazing game. One heck of a comeback. I hate having to chase. I hate having to come from behind. But when we come from behind and get the job done, fine. Just we can come from behind all you want as long as you get the job done. I don't care.
I mean, I think Bo said it best at his halftime interview: is the fans did not deserve that first quarter performance, and they made sure they made up for it the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, no, that second quarter was fantastic and beyond, but especially the second quarter was I mean, they scored 3 in the first, then we scored 3. Now, granted, they went into the half 1 up on us, but that was it happens. It is what it is. We went into the half a lot happier than we would have been.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll get through it our usual way. I need a stat that tells the story.
Not it.
Huber, I think that means you get to go first.
Well, I mean, these two teams, I thought they were evenly matched going in. I mean, solid goalkeeping, yet a solid defense. and some great playmakers. So I don't know if there's like one real stat that like tells the story of what happened last night. I mean, I could always go to my near and dear favorite stat ever, Brandon, if you'd like to cue it up.
Sogs.
I mean, Utica did outshoot Kansas City 32-24. And that's the only real thing that like stood out to me, if that's really anything.
Yeah, I mean, most of those shots come during the fourth quarter, which, I mean, Utica put up 2 there to open it up, briefly take the lead, but you outshot Milwaukee by 6 alone in the fourth quarter. So that is pretty much where all that came from, or Kansas City. Sorry, I'm thinking ahead.
We knew who you meant.
Yeah.
Bear with me.
For those wondering, we're literally recording this the next night, so some of us may or may not have our voices back. Some of us are definitely a bit drained, a bit tired, but we're here and we're getting this done.
Yeah, got to get it done tonight so we can get it out first thing tomorrow morning. And hopefully everyone has a chance to listen to it before the Milwaukee game on Thursday. So, Brandon, if you're still looking for a stat, I'll take mine.
Go for it.
All right. To borrow from the one of the Kansas City broadcasters, Mr. Eric Bergrud, goalkeeping. Mr. Stretch in the net. 14 saves on 20 shots. He was peppered all night, and he had some big ones. I do think he probably could have got his hand on one of those goals that got past him. But, I mean, the 700 save percentage, and you're going up against one of the better offensive teams in the league, that's huge.
Yeah, he definitely had.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna go.
Mine's complete. I came up. I thought of something else.
Okay.
Take it away.
Go ahead.
Well,
we were done with that stat. Okay.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what's going on, man.
No.
Sogs.
We're about as discombobulated as Utica in the first quarter.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, hats off to Andrew. I mean, over the last 6 games after Mexico, I mean, Coughlin and the defense have been one of the best in the league. You're looking at, like, 4 goals a game. So he's definitely, like, back. He's definitely back to being Mr. Stretch that dominated the league over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for a while, I would say, the first little bit of the season, he kind of felt like Mr. Stiff. You left a Mr. Stretch out in the sun for too long, and it just kind of stiffened up and didn't move as much. But now he's definitely bounced back, and we're definitely seeing vintage Mr. Stretch again, and he has been showing it consistently game after game. It's what you want to see.
Yeah. All right, Brandon, now it's your turn. Still need a stat from you.
Oh, I don't have a stat from this game.
No.
It's not from it's not from this game.
Okay.
No, it's 50 goals in a Utica uniform for the one, the only Banano Christian Segura. Granted, he's at 52 now, but he hit 50.
Yeah, if there's a game to collect a milestone and then improve on it, the playoffs are a great time for it.
Absolutely.
And it's great for Christian because, he came in that 1920 season, looked like they were going to be competing for a Ron Newman Cup that year. COVID happens. So he doesn't get the playoffs his first year here. No season the next year. Doesn't make the playoffs last year. He finally gets a taste of it, and he thrived.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think Kansas City's focus was to limit Gordy Gerson.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that, that's going to free up other players.
Yes.
And Christian was that player. And I have watched the overtime goal probably 30 times already, and it's just a thing of beauty. Like,
you been watching it too?
Oh, yeah.
I could watch that all day.
I could watch that all day. Yeah, that was just going through all 5 Kansas City defenders and just slotting it past Neto. Just not much else you can say.
No. Yeah, what a great finish.
So I did have another stat.
Okay.
Do tell.
The number is 0. Now, one of the keys for Utica, as Kansas City, one of their keys was to stop Gordy Gerson.
Mm-hmm.
Utica's goals was to stop Zach Reggett. The number is 0.
Yes.
That's how many points Zach Reggett had in this game. 0.
And he was trying. Like, he had some opportunities.
2 shots on goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, hats off to the defense. I think I saw Toby on him. I would imagine Hundelt was on him. Mijatovic was on him as well.
Mm-hmm.
But 0 from Zach.
Brandon and I talked about it last week where, Reggett leads the team in points over the whole season. He's been great since he got there. But he's not quite in that upper echelon where your goal is to, if we can hold him to 2 points,
mm-hmm.
he can be shut down. And, I noticed when Toby was defending him, they didn't give him an inch.
Nope.
So.
That definitely, and that you could tell it frustrated him.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, very much. But it had to be done.
Yeah.
All right. Let's turn our attention to the second little subject here, and that is a play that changed the game. Because I had one that stood out to me. There are a bunch that you could go to in this.
Oh, yeah.
But with roughly 15 seconds left in the third quarter, Utica's still trailing by 1 at this point. Let me pull up the play-by-play here because I had it and I lost it. And I want to make sure I get the correct player. Milos Vucic on the fast break, number 30 for Kansas City. Has a great shot. And Coughlin gets a big left hand on it and stops it. And the importance of that is that he kept the ball in front of him where he could pick it up, clear it out. Because they had a runner going back corner. If that ball, hits his hand and bounces off in another direction, they've got a guy right there to tap it in.
It was getting cleaned up for sure.
Yes. And if Utica goes down 6-4 with all of 15 seconds left in the third, I'm not saying the life gets sucked out of the odd, but the emotional level and the confidence that, hey, we're coming back, this is ours, it certainly takes a hit.
It's demoral. It would be absolutely demoralizing. Yeah. It would be a shock to the system.
So, huge job keeping that gut punch off the board, keeping the team down by 1, and we saw how that worked out.
Yes.
Right, who wants to go next?
I will let our guest go next.
Oh,
are you just being polite, or have you not thought of one?
Oh, no, I actually have one. Okay. I legitimately already have one.
Ow. I'm going to keep saying ow every time I laugh.
Yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get for laughing at me.
I'm a little dumb. Forgive me.
You get pain. Pain.
Life is pain.
Yes.
Life's pretty good right now.
Well, not if you're a Kansas City fan.
I didn't say for a Kansas City
fan, or a Tacoma fan, or a Florida fan, or any of those other teams that didn't make the playoffs.
I'm a fan of people from Florida's team. Does that count?
No.
Okay. So mine's pretty simple. It's going to be Bo's goal, the first goal. I think Bo, having been a part of Syracuse and now Utica, and not having a lot of playoff success, I think it was important that goal came from one of those players, like one of those influential players. And Bo, co-captain, I think him putting that first goal away, that got him excited, that got the team excited, that got us excited. And I think that's when the momentum started turning, was at that point. Now, we all know it went back and forth pretty much after that. But I think after that, that place was not quiet at all.
I have definitely noticed a change in Bo this season. There's been times where we've seen him at what you'd call his worst, where, head drops all the time. Just, he is down and out a lot of the time. And of course, when he's out of it, everyone else is out of it. So, watching him getting as excited as he's been, not just this game, but a lot of the other games that we've had in, I would say, the past, I would say the second half of the season, seeing the excitement on his, you know what? I'm actually going to credit this one to Steph. Once Steph got on this team, I watched Bo's mood change significantly. And I think that, like, the energy from Steph, the energy from Gordy, a lot of these younger guys has re-energized Bo to an extent. Like, he's seemed much more like energized in almost every game. And it's I love seeing it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, at that point, I'll speak for us up in 212 that the plebeians who couldn't afford the beer garden tickets this time. And look, I'll just say that Dave was like, Michelle, you got to get out of the arena. Michelle, you need to. Oh my God, bad touches, bad passes. They were diving defensively, but that first goal went in and a weight was lifted.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
that's happened in several games where the first quarter we struggle offensively, and then after that first goal happens, it's like a light bulb goes on, and they're like, "Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, we're playing a game."
Ball in the back of the net, and then they just keep doing it, and then they're like, "Oh, we're not going to let them put the ball in the back of their net." So, yeah.
Also, I do want to mention one other thing because, I know you were talking about that, we haven't really seen playoff success in Utica.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was definitely important for Bo to lead the charge. He is one of five remaining inaugural season Utica City FC players.
Yep.
Nate, Bo, Toby, Coughlin, Logan. That's the remaining five. Everybody else has either retired, been traded, left. Everybody else is gone.
Yep.
I realized it yesterday after we left the arena, and it was really kind of shocking to think about.
Mm-hmm.
That, those are basically the remaining five veterans of this team. Now, I mean, granted, we've gotten some, we'll call them newer veterans, but these guys were there the inaugural season.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just, it was kind of crazy to think about, but yeah, seeing one of the, the original five, we'll call them, was, seeing him get that first goal. I absolutely agree that was a spark plug of sorts.
Well, Matt, I have given our plays. It's your turn.
Oh, it's easy. This one's easy. It's another goal. It is the second, or I should say the third goal in the game for Utica, the tying goal from Segura. It wasn't even the fact that it wasn't the fact that he scored. It wasn't the fact that, it was our third tying goal. None of that. It was the fact that, and this was something I harped on for a long time, he stepped up to it. Like it was like, it was up there. It was a little bit out of his reach. And I don't mean just him, any of them. Like that was a criticism that I had for a lot of these guys. He didn't just let it roll by and try and get it from the boards. He stepped up to that thing and just boom, in. Like he did a quick little settle, but it was still bouncing around. But I mean, it was just, he didn't completely settle it and then come to a stop and then try and shoot the ball. No, he just kind of dribbled a little, bam, in. I mean, and the fact that, I mean, yes, it was the scoring. It was the tying goal. Yes, it was. I believe that was his second, if I remember correctly, of the game.
Yes, that was his second.
And
it was a banana brace.
So, yes, it was all those things, but it just showed that, okay, these guys have some serious drive. They want this. Everybody wants this. These guys are fighting hard because Kansas City came out swinging. They were not letting us breathe at all. And so it was a hard fought battle, but I think ultimately, towards the half and into the second half, they tired themselves out because they were pushing us really hard in the first half.
I'll say this, one thing that Kansas City did really well was when they went on the attack, they really had three guys pushed up and two kind of hanging back towards midfield a little more. And those three guys were just terrorizing the defense as best they could.
Yeah.
But if it didn't work out for them, as soon as Utica tried to get onto a counterattack, those two guys were able to drop back and cut off the Utica fast break that we've seen score so many goals this year.
No, they were prepared for it. They shut down the fast break very well, honestly. I mean, they watched tape. Like, for not having played us, they knew what to expect.
Right. What is one thing that needs to change going forward? Because we've got 2 games against Milwaukee, potentially 6 games and up to 6 games and up to 3 mini games left. What's got to change if we're bringing that Ron Newman Cup back to Utica?
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Utica needs to be better clearing the ball from the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
We saw this. We saw that in the game last night. The shorthanded goal that was given up in the first was off of no one cleaning up the shot. No one cleared the shot. Went off the wall, went to Marquez, he banged it in. I think it happened a few more times where the ball wasn't cleared and it gave Kansas City an opportunity to score. That's the only thing I could really think of. That's the big one in my book.
Yeah, I can't even. I mean, I don't even need to think of another one. That is kind of where my head was at, because that has been a continuous problem. We try and clear. I understand trying to clear effectively, or trying to clear into an opportunity. Sometimes you just got to get that ball out of our defensive end. Between playing with it in our defensive end, passing it back and forth in the defensive side, to not clearing it out. Like, those are our two biggest Achilles heels, I feel. Which we didn't do much of playing in the defensive end this time, but it has happened plenty.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that all season long, how their defense has been an issue when it comes to clearing it or playing it across goal face. At this point, as big of an issue as that is, you've got to stop coming out flat. You cannot go down by 2 or 3 goals every game and expect other teams to crumble. Also, you won't have to work as hard in the second and third and fourth quarters to scrape your way back into it.
We don't like chasing.
You have to play with a sense of urgency from the moment the ball is first kicked off. And I really did not see that last night. It took a long time for the offense to play with any sense of urgency, any sense of just, hey, we have to win or our season's over. And that can't continue.
Yeah. Come from behind victories are awesome. So is just stomping your opponent into the ground. And, not having to chase the entire game, even if it's not the entire game, not having to chase for half the game, because that's basically what we had to do, was chase for actually 3/4 of the game, technically. I don't like having to chase to catch up. We really don't want to be in that situation, especially against, nothing against Kansas City, but they were in 5th place. I don't want to have to be chasing against Milwaukee, against Baltimore, against, that's the only ones left.
Or San Diego, or Chihuahua,
San Diego.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Because San Diego's not going to fall apart like that.
Nope.
They gave up 1 goal in 2 games against Mesquite. And that was on a shootout, I believe. Or power play. I know part of it charged with it. I didn't catch all of that first game they played.
I would have had to look back on that one.
Yeah.
But you can't play like that. Can't show up, play 3/4 of a game, and expect to be a champion.
No, it's not going to happen.
So, we've gotten the negatives. Let's look at the positives, though. And I guess I will just say that you guys saw the little hype video I threw out this week?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know how many of the guys saw it. I know a few of them did. But the quote that I used seems to embody this team, because we talk about they didn't have that sense of urgency. But then, as that quote goes, champions aren't made in gyms. Champions are made from something they have deep inside them, a desire, a dream, a vision. They have to have the skill and the will, but the will must be stronger than the skill. And these guys just that something is driving them to keep coming back. We've talked about it down the second half of the season about this never say die, stick-to-itiveness, we're not out of it attitude that this team has.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen it over the years where we could be 3 goals and it's just kind of, I won't say ho-hum, but there wasn't a sense of urgency. But you don't see that this season. You see, I think we've won more overtime games this season than I would say the last 3 seasons combined. Even you could even go back to the days of Syracuse. Syracuse was never good in overtime. That's something we did not do well at.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This year, it's something different. It's that never say die mentality, and I think they feed off of us, and we feed off of them. So,
no question there. Absolutely no question there.
So on that game-tying goal from Steph, right before that, little noise out of our corner as I started the Utica chant. He ties it 10 seconds later, and Mike, our favorite usher in the world, comes over. He's like, "You did that. That was because of you." Like, I love you, Mike, but all I did was get the crowd started. Mijatovic did the rest.
Yeah, I mean, getting the crowd, as we've said before, it's a mutually beneficial arrangement, if you will. The
symbiotic relationship.
Symbiotic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you get the crowd gets behind the players when the players are doing well. The players have to be doing well, or have to be at least really showing effort, really trying, and that will get the crowd hyped. And with the crowd getting hyped, the guys will, of course, get more energy, and will ultimately play better, try harder, go that extra, as I believe, as Everton said last week. I mean, go for that extra block, that extra shift. Get out there and just put an extra, even more effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's proven true. I mean, every single home game that we've had in at least, okay, I keep referencing the second half of the season. I felt, that's kind of where we started turning things around. Every single home game has just been a thriller.
No, it's been one heck of a ride here in the second half, and hopefully it continues. Look, I didn't want to talk about it, but I know Utica wasn't happy. Kansas City wasn't happy. The Utica fans weren't happy. Kansas City fans weren't happy. So what's it going to take for the MASL to move on from bowel movement Brian Miller?
Oh, boy.
Like, I don't know how bad you have to be at a job to get fired.
Wait.
How desperate the league is to keep him around.
I got to get your soapbox. Hold on.
Where is it?
All right, I don't have a soapbox, but here's this bucket.
Okay.
You can.
Do you want me just to stand on my wheelie computer chair?
Well, that's dangerous. But here's a bucket, and you can stand on this. And now there's crumbs all over my desk. But you know what? Here you go. Here's your bucket. This is your soapbox, and I'm ready to listen. I'm ready.
We're here. We're here.
Okay. We're here for you.
We're here for you.
Like, I mean, we talked about it pregame with a certain player in the league, and the general statement was that Miller has an air of arrogance about him, where if any players critique them, he holds it against them. I've been on his goat since last year when a head injury that should have stopped play wasn't called. Play continued. A goal was scored. Utica lost the game because of it. And then in the first quarter of this game, we see what probably was a boarding call that should have been a blue, where Steph went into the boards head first, crumpled. Play continues. And the reason I call him bowel movement is because he calls a complete shit show of a game.
Oh, yeah.
My God. He's standing 20 feet away. It's like, I don't see anything. Yeah. And then it has to go to review for them to be like, oh, yeah, he's almost unconscious there. We can't make that.
I mean, it wasn't a card.
No.
It was still just common foul.
No.
But
play absolutely should have stopped just from the head injury.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's not a foul. If you say, no, that was Steph out of control throwing him that caused himself to go into the boards.
He self-propelled himself into the boards.
It was either a no call. It's either a no call. Mijatovic hurt himself making a reckless challenge, but it's a head injury. Play stops. Or he got tripped up and there's boarding. How you get the in-between is just like, well, if we do it this way, maybe they won't be too pissed off at us on either side.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about the call. I don't know if you remember that, Brandon. I was yelling at Brian Miller.
Oh, yeah.
Letting him know my opinion. And then I found out there was no goal, but there was a foul. I'm still confused by that. So it was a foul, but not a big enough foul to warrant a blue card? Like, at that point, we would have been 5-on-3.
Yeah.
It was a 5-on-3 opportunity. I don't get where they came up with that was not a big enough foul.
They just make up rules as they go along, pull them out of their ass. I swear to God, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I mean, yeah, we've definitely had that conversation.
Because then we saw it in the second quarter with Isak and Neto getting offsetting blues. Pardon me for this. My voice is still very damaged from last night and doesn't like talking too much, but I feel I have to say these things because it keeps happening. That was a clear and obvious blue from Isak. No one in hindsight, without the emotion of the moment, was going to be booing if he got a blue card. Now, they would have booed because in the heat of the moment, garbage. But in hindsight, no, clear and obvious. How do you need to go to review that? Again, you're standing 5 feet away. I'm 200 and some odd feet away at the other side of the arena. I'm like, oh, well, we're going in the box.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely some calls that it was like, why do you have to review this when you were standing right there? How do you not see what most of us are seeing in the arena? Now, obviously they're always going to say, oh, well, it's just fan bias. And no, I mean, it wouldn't matter which way it went. As long as I'm going to use a quote from someone that we all heard.
Mm.
Whether it's good or bad, just be consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency. That's all we want.
Yeah.
And we saw that consistency not happen in this one because they were letting everything happen in this game.
Yeah.
And things got out of hand, and then they cracked down in the late third quarter.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, if you call the game better, it doesn't get as out of hand.
Correct.
Will it, on occasion? Absolutely. Tempers flare, especially this time of the year. But my Lord. And it happened down in Florida. Different officials. That one involved the head of officiating, Ryan Sigich.
Mm-hmm.
Where Lucas Roque, clearing a guy off of him, throws his elbow into his face. Like, clear and obviously, if you're on that side of the field. And everything I've heard involves them just being like, no, we can't challenge it. It wasn't a foul. We can't challenge to see if there was a foul. Like, we're not asking to challenge if there was a foul. The guy almost had his nose broken. We want you to look for a blue card.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it. And then the next day, before the second game is played, less than 24 hours later, the DRC, which I assume Sigich is a part of, has to come out and be like, yeah, that was actually a red card. Roque can't play this game.
Which, I mean,
I'm not expecting these guys to be perfect, but how do you go from it's not a foul at all to that's a red card?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like,
and along with that, I mean, not going to go too deep into it, but Roque being out right then and there
changes that game, changes that series.
Yeah. Like having him out in the basically for the entirety of the first game potentially changes this how the series plays out, because he is a huge factor. Actually, no, being out for the entire series.
Yeah, he would have missed the second game, which was a 14-1 blowout.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded that game either.
But like in my job, if I slap raw chicken on a plate and send it out, and then someone gets sick and I go, yeah, you're right, that was raw. I thought it was grilled perfectly. My bad. I don't get to keep my job. There's fines and there's firing.
Mm-hmm. There's consequences.
Yes. And that is nothing that we have seen since Utica has joined the league shows me that there is any consequence or way to hold these officials accountable for their actions that endanger player safety and show just a complete inability to understand the rules as they're written. Because the handball rule changes every game. And it changes every time it's on under review. You know, the show under review, not like they actually review it.
Oh, I know.
If the arm's away from the body in an unnatural position, okay, well, I watched 3 balls last night kick off of players' feet, hit their arm while they're like out like a pirate trying to get a parrot to land.
Yarr.
And then come back down instead of going out of bounds, and they didn't get called handballs. Is that a natural position? I thought it had to be tight to the body. That's how you keep explaining it.
That's my understanding, but
so let me ask you this. So do you think it would be beneficial for the league to have a third person on the field?
No, because these two guys can't get out of the way as it is.
Thank you. Yes.
I think it would be beneficial for challenges. If you get it correct, you get it back once. And the head of officiating should not be an official in the games. He should be sitting somewhere in front of a computer, and anytime there's a challenge, he should be the one making the call.
Uh-huh.
That's what the NFL does. If there's a challenge, it goes to New York. MLB, there's a challenge, it goes to New York. Someone not involved that's sitting there that can look at it from all the angles and is not involved in the game gets to make the call.
I agree.
Yeah.
I know that's not going to happen. It's not. The resources aren't there, especially while we're streaming on Twitch. Because, unless they have that in arena feed, they're not going to be able to go back live and watch it because Twitch doesn't allow that.
Correct.
But I'd just like the officials to be held accountable. And until they are, at least have the decency, if they're going to piss on us, not to try and tell us that it's rain.
True. I'd like to see a little bit more communication between the refs and the crowd when it comes to the challenges. They do this in Kansas City, where the ref is mic'd up, and they say, "Oh, well, Kansas City's challenge, or it's for penalties too."
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, "Oh, Nicolau Neto, 2 minutes for insert any single foul that he's had here."
Yeah.
I think they should do that with challenges as well, because we don't know what's going on. What was the result? Like, just drawing a picture of a rectangle going like that doesn't really tell anything. Like,
yeah,
be like, hey, there was a foul, but it doesn't warrant like a blue card.
Yeah. We're reviewing it, and here's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, mic up the refs, absolutely.
Even just one of them.
Yep. That's
your senior official, mic them up.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what they do in Kansas City.
I'm just thinking cost efficiency, because that would be one of the factors that would come up in not doing it. Mm-hmm. So cost efficiency, senior, the head official for the night, they're mic'd up every game, everywhere, so that they can communicate what is going on.
Yeah. And at a point, you have to throw cost efficiency out the window. Because,
good luck with that.
Well, I know, but someone needs to explain to the owners that as long as you're frugal and pinching pennies to try to make as much as you can, and worried about just getting sponsorships with the vaguest ticket and sports books in the world, yeah, you'll make your money, but the product is not going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
If the product gets better, you get better sponsorships. Better sponsorships means even more money.
I like money.
And you know what? When you have more money,
you can buy better players. You can
I was gonna
build your own arenas and not worry about arena time and availability forcing you to, give up home field advantage in the playoffs.
We've never heard of that happening.
Yeah.
I was just going to go along the lines of more SOGs, but
yeah.
Also that, yes.
Like, there's a reason when you go out to restaurants, everywhere sells sirloin, ribeye, filet mignon, stuff like that. You don't see people selling flank steak, chuck round, because they give you the better cut of meat because they will make more money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do the same thing. And fire Brian Miller, into the sun.
Hey.
I don't know if I would have gone that far.
I die. You're okay. Uh-huh. Right.
Well, he doesn't care about player safety, so why should we care?
Yeah.
You remember the last time that somebody talked about physical violence towards someone?
Well, yeah, but like that was theoretically possible. I don't think we're going to build a catapult big enough, and we might be able to get enough people to like agree with us, but I don't think the math doesn't add up to get that catapult working. And
time for a GoFundMe.
We just need to get a good fake Brian Miller Twitter account and then just troll Elon from it until Elon agrees to put him on a rocket ship.
Okay.
This can work.
This can work.
We have the technology.
Yeah, the techno.
We don't. The sociopathic billionaire does, but
we could have it.
He's very frail, and we can definitely get him on our side.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully we don't see him the rest of the playoffs, but I don't have high hopes for that. So if you see Mr. Miller, just expect both teams and both fan bases to be pulling their hair out with frustration.
Yes.
So with that, we can turn our attention to Thursday's game. Utica travels to Milwaukee. It'll be the fourth time they've played. There will be a watch party at 72. The game kicks off at 7:05 p.m. And then Sunday, teams return to Utica. Game 2 will be played at 3:05 p.m., not the originally listed 2, but 3 in the afternoon. And if the series splits, there will be a 10-minute break and then a 15-minute winner-take-all mini-game.
Well, you guys have fun at the watch party.
Well,
I will most likely not be at the watch party. I will be most likely watching from home.
Ah, yes. From the home.
Because I must.
You must.
What?
Yes.
Well, give me that look. No. Don't give me hand signs. Just because you're muted.
yeah, the peanut gallery was coming back through, so
That's fine.
It was more to cut out the sound of my stairs groaning with every step and the eventual toilet flush.
Squeeze.
Yay, small apartments.
Yay.
Yeah, I'll be at work for the start of the game, but I'm hoping to swing by the watch party and catch at least the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
We close up at 8, and Thursdays usually aren't too busy. Yeah. Games this year between the two teams have been tight. In Milwaukee, Utica lost 9-7 and 5-3, and then at 5-3, and then at home they won 7-5.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting split. The first couple times that we met, things did not go well for Utica. And again, I will reference some of our mid-season team changes as factors in scores after mid-season, considering the fact that everyone that beat us within our division, we have now beaten.
Except St. Louis, because we only played them once.
Except St. Louis, because, sadness. But everybody else, Baltimore, more than once. Florida.
Split home and road.
More than once.
Milwaukee. We have literally, we beat Florida more than once. So we beat Baltimore more than once. We beat Florida more than once. We've only played Milwaukee once since. So, it's the writing's on the wall. we have the chance to turn this around and make it another game, another one that we put up on the board against Milwaukee, against a team that has throttled us in the past.
Yeah. I saw it over in the Off the Wall Facebook group, but look, there's one guy that runs a bunch of stats in there that I appreciate because I don't have to make them up myself. But teams that win the first game of the playoff series go on to win it 72% of the time. Unfortunately, the one year Utica did see the playoffs, we saw that other 28%. And after last night, in the mini game, home teams are 12-9. So the mini game's really still a toss-up.
Yep. I mean, unfortunately, still remembering back to our first season, that was that's where we lost it at home.
Yeah.
But like Kansas City, the 6-2 collapse in the fourth quarter, that's all in the past. This is a completely different team. I'm throwing all these numbers out the window. Like, I understand we lost in a mini game and we lost this and we lost that. I think, I don't want it to go to a mini game.
No,
neither do I.
I just don't.
I hate that.
I don't want to be a statistic. Unless it's good. Unless it's a good one.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, I only throw out the stats so that they are known.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a totally different team than, our 2019 team. I remember back then it kind of felt like we were starting to flake out. We were starting to fizzle. And unlike that season where it just seemed like it almost felt like they just wanted the season to end. And they were just our team was kind of fizzling. We are energized. We are we're charging headlong into the playoffs instead of, burning out. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's going to be a tight series. Absolutely. Milwaukee, a little bit better offensively. Led by Ian Bennett. Again, 35 goals, 10 assists. Huffman has found a great second half to his career as a forward instead of a defender. And I don't know if you guys watched the chat at all in the other playoff games, but in many of them, Steph and Huffman were going back and forth and just smack talking. And I look forward to that matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Marcio Leite is a threat out of the back. He had 22 assists this year. But here's what might shock you a little bit. Although he had a slightly better save percentage at 691 to 677, Willie B is giving up a slightly more goals per game at 576 to 574 over Andrew Coughlin.
Okay. I mean, that also still kind of puts them somewhat evenly matched, though. It's not like that's it's not like that's a huge difference maker, but I get what you're going at.
But what the higher save percentage and worse, even if it is slightly even equal, if you want to split hairs on it, goal allow tells me is that their defense seeds more shots than our defense.
Fair enough.
And one of the ways that they're giving up goals is their penalty kill. They are sub 500. They're at a 452 penalty kill. Utica's at 639. They do convert better than us at a 490 versus 452. But there is a weakness there. And if there's any other player known in the league for their temper, besides Neto, it's Derek Huffman.
It is Huffman, for sure.
I'm not as confident about it as I was with Neto getting the blue in Utica. I'd say there's a pretty good chance he ends up in the box, though.
You gonna put money on
it? No, I can't. I tried to get around the stuff, but even though I have a VPN and I was faking my GPS, it was still
how could you?
Yeah. And then I went to see if they just had the website. I wanted to see what the opening lines were.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you're in the state, you can't even see the lines. And they don't have a functioning website, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the website on a desktop or a laptop or whatever,
yeah,
it tells you to download the app.
Sucker.
It's been a better year for Huffman. He only had 4 blues and 2 yellows in 22 games versus 2019 when he had, 2018, 2019 when he had 6 cards, but 4 of them were yellows.
Yeah, I think he's definitely under a microscope with the league.
Oh yeah.
So that's why you're seeing a decline in penalties, and I think he's very happy in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
and that definitely helps.
I mean, that said, he's still tied for the league lead or the team lead in blue cards.
Listen, he's trying. Okay,
and yellow cards. His 6 cards are more than anyone else on the team, so you can get to him. Not as easily as you can get to Neto, but you can definitely get to him.
I mean, in my opinion, we did what we needed to when Milwaukee was here.
Mm-hmm.
Not the time we want, obviously we still lost that game, but
no, we won the game at home. We lost the second one there.
Then I'm thinking of the wrong game.
You're thinking of the 5-3 game there.
Yes. Where
we shut down Bennett.
Where we shut down Ian. That is still a key factor in this game. We have proven that he is not inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
We have proven that this team, and locking him down is not the only thing we need to do, but it definitely helps. And making sure that, he's not, hitting the ball down our throats over and over.
Yeah.
Is extremely beneficial to us. You still have other threats. You still have, Huffman. But IB26, if we control him, I think we definitely have a much better chance if we leave him unchecked.
Yeah, look for Darren Toby to man mark him all day, every day.
Yeah.
So fun fact, I just looked this up. So before Steph and Toby were on the team, Milwaukee won a game 9-7 at home. Ian Bennett had 5 goals in that game.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 games that Utica and Milwaukee played, Ian Bennett has been limited to 1 goal and 1 assist combined. And that's with the addition of Mijatovic and Toby.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you guys are right. I mean, Milwaukee's plan is to obviously shut down Gordy. we have to shut down Ian Bennett. So I think the key factors are going to be, I think for Milwaukee, you have to look at Alex Bradley. I mean, Alex Bradley had a pretty good year. He was an all-star, although he didn't play in the game a couple of years ago. So he's definitely a good player. And then you have to look at the other side. I mean, I think Taylor Bond. I think Taylor Bond, that big target forward that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think if he's successful, the team will be successful as well. So I think those are the two that I'm going to be looking at this series.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their top scorers, and their top three are Ian Bennett, Derek Huffman, and Andre Hayne.
Mm-hmm.
Those are their top three goal scorers at 35, 18, and 11. So there's big drops in between. So, I mean, those are their three top people. But at the same time, when Kansas City was covering Gordy, what did we do? Well, as Sterling said it already, we have other weapons. We had, that's when Segura stepped up and got a hat trick in the basically the first time all season. I mean, I definitely want to make sure that they need to make sure that they're covering, the Ian Bennett for sure. Huffman needs to have attention, but don't take your eyes off of anyone else, because these two can still make opportunities whether they're the ones shooting or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Before we give our predictions, I want to do a quick little start 'em or sit 'em over some of the guys on the lineup. Just, guys that didn't see a whole lot of run in this game they're guys that have been cycled through anyway as the season goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go Correa versus Logan, Ronnie or Isak, and then Fernandez or Keaton. Let's start at the back. I thought Correa played a pretty good game this time out. He had that flop that got called for a foul, and then immediately drew a yellow card for delay a game. But, I mean, we were sitting up there in 212 that was a flop. I mean, we could see it was a flop. I don't know how 5 foot away bowel movement Miller didn't see that it was a flop, but...
Jesus.
Oh, boy. Sunward bound Brian Miller.
But, that was one where it's like, I mean, I guess I'll take that call. I saw a few good plays out of him, more on the offensive end than I saw out of him defensively. So would you guys keep him in there for this first game at Milwaukee? Or would you swap him out and put Logan back in? You weren't ready to play difficult games today, were you?
It's actually not that. That is a very tough call, mm-hmm. because they're both, I mean, Correa's just come back to us not that long ago.
Right.
Off of injury. But Logan's been out just as much with injury, because he is, let's be honest, he's very prone to it. Every season we know that he's going to be out for a bit because he plays hard, and he's going to end up hurting himself or getting hurt. Mm-hmm. And it's consistently happened. So don't get me wrong, I would love to see Logan out, on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know that he will do good things. I know both of them will do good things. Part of me leans towards stick with what's been working. Stick with Correa. The selfish side of me says I want a Superman sighting. So, because I'm just going to go. I'm going to go with my gut and say I would love to see Logan out. Even though my heart says I want to see Logan, my brain says I want to see Correa. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with my heart on this one.
Okay.
I like it.
Too.
I'm gonna take Logan. I think in the playoffs, it boils down to experience. Don't get me wrong, Correa, great defender. I think both of them have similar styles. I think they're both very fast. But I want experience out on that field. So I would go Logan.
See, that's where I'm at, is going against such a veteran team. I'm going to take that veteran experience. Nothing against Correa. Like I said, I think he played a pretty good game this last one. He's looked really good since coming back from that awful knee injury. But with the season on the line, and as we're saying, we're looking for someone that plays with urgency and every shift. Not saying Correa doesn't, but we know we'll get that from Logan. All right, so we got 2 Logans, 3 Logans.
Technically 3.
Technically 3. We'll call it 2.5. Because like Brandon, I see where you're coming from. If it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah. But, I mean, ultimately, I did go with my heart and say Logan be on the field.
Yeah.
But that's mainly because I want to see him on the field. I've been, every time we're in 72 after the game, I'm like, so when are we going to see you on your field, huh? Huh?
Yeah.
And, so far, we haven't. And I'm sad.
All right. Ronnie versus Isak. Huber, do you want to go first on this one?
I mean, flip a coin on this one. Both have bright futures in this league. I think I would take Isak. Although he shows he's great handling the ball, but I think he handles the ball a little too much and gets himself in trouble. And I don't think Ronnie does that. But I like the hustle of Isak. He can fly down that field. And that's definitely something that the team needs. Mm-hmm. So I would take Isak.
Okay. Brandon?
Isak makes me nervous because he is, the best way I can put it is he's prone to retaliation. He gets the ball taken away from him. He is on the person that took the ball away, sometimes to a fault. He has a temper. We have seen it. Sometimes it flares up and can cost us a power play. Mm-hmm. Or sorry, can put us on the penalty kill. That's more what I was trying to say. You know what I meant? But
yeah,
he has done it 5 times as much as Ronnie. I just looked because I was curious. He's had 5 blue cards. Ronnie's had 1. Granted, he's also played double the games. More than double. Ronnie's played 10. Isak's played 23. So I'm gonna go back to we need experienced legs on the board. And this season, Isak has that. I mean, he had that both seasons. He still played more games than Ronnie last season. Isak is the veteran presence. We're going into one of the most important games, one of the most important, literally the most important series up to now of this season.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have your veteran presence. I got to go Isak.
Okay. My biggest concern, because I love his speed, is Milwaukee watched that game last night, and they go, oh, all we need to do to completely neutralize him is double team.
I knew you were going to go there.
As soon as he gets double teamed, it's kind of like when Obasi was on the team. He slows the offense down for a minute while he sets up to make his move. And in that moment, they were double teaming him last night, and he could go nowhere and do nothing with it. And that, I don't know if it's indecisiveness or just his style of play, but that can kill you in the playoffs. I love him on the fast break. I mean, put him one-on-one running down the boards all day, every day. He's beating 99% of the players in this league.
Absolutely. 100%.
But in the, half field offense, pardon.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's real fun having this scratchy throat after last night. But in that half-court offense that you're going to run more and more against the better defenses, when he's out there, it's you know exactly what you're going to get. He's going to get the ball on the wing. He's going to take a second to read the defense, and in that time, they're going to collapse. And whatever he was planning to do is completely neutralized. Yeah, so Ronnie offers almost as much speed, not quite as technical, still pretty good with his feet. Bigger body. Can get a little more physical without having to get angry and turn things into a blue card.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit better going body to body. And I'd like to see that at least in one of these games.
I was just going to say, I would, if we say we take the first,
yeah,
I would be completely fine with having Ronnie play second, in the second game, no question, because he could still get it done, but there'll be, we'll call it less on the line in the second game if we win the first.
Right. See, I'd almost rather have it go the other way because it's a hostile environment on the road.
Yeah, that's fair. And it would be more likely that it would get under Isak's skin versus Ronnie. I get that.
Right. Either way, very similar players, offer a lot of the same skill set. Isak's got more experience. I know Ronnie was dealing with, I think it was a hamstring injury this season. There's just something about those, like, you get them once, they're going to nag you your entire career.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's the second duo. The third one, Keaton versus Fernandez. I'll be honest. I was kind of surprised when Chino came into 72 before the game and said he wasn't getting a run. I really like Chino as a distributor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that this team needs. Keaton obviously didn't get as many opportunities this year. Has looked good. He's got 2 goals and assist in 3 games. Didn't get a ton of run out there last night. And a couple of times, to me, he didn't look super confident on the ball.
But that's one of my biggest critiques of him, is he usually doesn't. Well, I shouldn't say usually, but he lacks the confidence that a lot of other people on the team have. Compare him to, literally anyone else on the team, and it's almost like he sometimes doesn't feel comfortable in his own skin on the field, and that's kind of important. When you're handling the ball, especially as you said, in hostile territory. I mean, I will give him this. He is persistent. He tried. I go back to the 4 attempts that it took him to get basically the same goal. I mean, it was 4 times he got up in the offensive third. Either dribbles it past or finally finds the net. But he did not stop trying. Like, he was going to get that ball in the back of the net, and he did. So kudos to his persistence, but I'm sorry to hijack your talk into this, but for me it's Fernandez all the way here. There's no argument here. I think Keaton is a great player. He will be he's a good player right now. He will be a great player the more he gets into his career. But right now, I don't think he's not who I would play in a playoff game. Again, maybe the second one if we win the first. Same thing I've said before, but not the first one. Not the one in hostile territory.
If you need fresh legs there for the mini game, if it happens. He's another fast guy that you could throw in. But give me the guy that's got 9 goals and 7 assists and just has worked wonders on the field this year when he's playing alongside Nilton De Andrade.
Yes.
Those two have great chemistry. Let me see them on the same shift.
Yeah, you guys pretty much said everything I was going to say.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It makes it easier for me to just say Steven Fernandez. Now, Keaton, like Ronnie, like Isak, like all of these players, they have bright futures in this league. Keaton's come up with some key goals for us against Baltimore, and that's awesome. But my big thing is the chemistry that he already has with Nilton. Like, those two you saw during the first half of the season, those two just knew where to be, right place, right time, and they knew it. So you would see Nilton from Steven from Nilton. So I think that right there is huge. So give me Steven Fernandez all day.
All right. So
I'm just going to say, for the record, I'm still sad that you didn't include Rafa in that, because I want to see Rafa on the field, but it's hard to put it's hard in his position to who to put him up against.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was like, well, who would you trade? Like, these other guys, it's like, this is who would match him up with. Rafa could easily sub in instead of Isak or Ronnie.
Yeah. If you want to have if you want to have an additional midfielder instead of a forward, he could definitely take that. He could definitely, slot in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a reason that Michelle calls him the little menace.
Yeah.
Because he makes opportunities. He gets steals. He gets in between passes. He breaks things up and makes things happen. And I think he's kind of an honorable, if you will, an honorable mention in this discussion because
absolutely.
I think that, I would like to see him on the field. I don't know where they fit him in because, basically the two people that he would be putting up against would be like Hundelt and Swift and Segura and Nate in the midfield. And I love him to death, but I would not sub one of them out in this critical game for him.
Now, if Swift had continued to play like he did the first half, where I think he was just banged up, and absolutely, Rafa would have been a great substitution for that choice. But he has come on strong down the stretch.
Yes.
And, it could be if we win the first game, we may see some of these players in the second game.
Right.
Other players rest just in case we have to go to that third mini game.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Nope, I could definitely see that being the case.
Well, there's only one way to find out, though, and that's to tune in Thursday. So, gentlemen, we need predictions. I'm not going to ask scores for home and away. Who wins the series and how many games? That's all we're looking for tonight.
I even had a score ready for the Thursday game. You suck.
That's just trying to make it a little easy on you.
You know what? You already made the maturity warning. You fucking suck.
Boy.
Hey,
Brian
listen,
Miller.
we hadn't used it yet, okay? We really hadn't.
Brian Miller may have a passenger with him on his vacation to the sun here in a second. Holy moly.
Listen, he made the warning early. We hadn't really used it. I am justifying it.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's all good.
I'm going to be honest. I'll lead it. I'll lead this off. Screw it. I think we go the distance in this one. I think it's going to be a series with how many games we have gone to overtime.
Yeah.
For this not to end up being a 3-game series. Well, okay, fine. 2 games and a mini game, whatever. 3 games. For this not to be a 3-game series, I would be absolutely shocked that it doesn't come down to that. I'd love for us to take it in 2. Sure, that's a hell of a statement to make, but I think it goes 3. I think it goes 3, and just based on recent track record and based on how things have been going, of course I'm going to go Utica.
All right, Mr. Huber, Mr. Fanatic, what you got?
Well, I think after the Mexico trip, I mean, we mentioned this before. We've beaten a lot of the playoff teams at their arena. The only team we have not beaten in their arena is Milwaukee. And we've come close twice. But that first game, we didn't have Mijatovic and Toby.
And that second game, no Gordy.
Yeah.
Second game, no Gordy.
And that goes back to, the thing you put out, Starling, about, when we have Mijatovic and Gordy on the field, it's a formula for success, apparently.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm not going to say 3 games. I am going to say, get your brooms ready, Utica. Sweeping the Wave. I think we go into Thursday, win that game. The odds going to be completely nuts. More than Monday night. I think it's going to be comparable to the Baltimore game. And Milwaukee is No. Give me Utica 2 games. Close games, but we win both.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going 2 games as well, and I'm going Utica. We have something to prove in Milwaukee. Yeah, they lost 2 games at home, but the teams that beat them weren't powerhouses. It was Kansas City, who we just saw plays well enough on the road, but if Utica plays an entire game instead of 2.5 quarters, that game is a complete domination by Utica.
Yep.
And then they lost to Monterey, who had a very up and down season. Yeah, they ended up the 3 seed in the West, but that says more about the Empire dropping 6 games in a row to fall out of the playoffs than it does Monterey. Utica can absolutely go in there and win. Milwaukee hasn't played in almost 2 weeks, a week and a half at this point. Yeah, they're going to be rested. There's always a little bit of rust. Come out, play with that sense of urgency from the moment the ball is kicked off, shove it down their throats, and score the first 2 goals. You have to do that if you're going to win in Milwaukee. Maybe not 2 goals, but definitely the first one.
Teacher.
Throw that first punch.
Teacher. I got my hand up. Teacher.
I can't see you. Huber
Teacher.
was the last one to talk.
Teacher.
So yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna steal a line from Cobra Kai. Strike hard, strike fast, no mercy.
Oh,
that was from Cobra Kai. I know that from Striking Fury.
I was about to say, I'm like, that's a Striking Fury. But yeah, they took it.
Strike hard, strike fast, defend the Empire.
Dogs and that stuff.
But no, seriously, play off of the rust. If you think there's going to be even a sprinkle of rust, play off of it. And
look, we saw pictures of Willie B sitting around eating cake, so.
But absolutely capitalize on any weakness that you possibly can. If there's any source of rust at all.
And exploit it.
Exploit it. Get a couple of points on the board before they can even know what's happening.
Because if you come back home and you've won that first game, there's no way you can allow a repeat of what happened in 2019 to happen. Just can't.
No.
The core of this team has been through it. There's no way that Bo and Logan and Toby and Coughlin and pardon me.
Pardon me, I've never heard of that person.
And Nate let that happen.
He was a signee first year. He only played 1 game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You got to do that. You win that first one on the road, the series is over. Milwaukee's got the second, technically the best road record in the East at 5-6-1. Utica's 5-7 on the road. You hung with them without Toby, without Steph, and without Gordy. You can absolutely beat them in their house on that black turf with everybody there.
Yep. We've seen what we do at full strength at home.
I mean, CQ is a fortress for Baltimore. And you went in there and handled them. Not as well as Florida just did, but they were also resting 3 key players to save them for 2 key players and a suspension to save them for the minigame.
I'm sorry, didn't we beat them at home twice?
No, it's just
3 times in our house, once in theirs.
Yeah.
We beat Baltimore 4 times this year. We lost by 1 in the first game, and then we got smacked the second time we went down there.
Okay.
It was like 10-3.
Okay.
And if there's anything I've learned just from like life, it's that if you need to tame the wave, you bring a hair straightener.
You can't see it, but he's getting the biggest eye roll ever. They're stuck. They're stuck staring up at the ceiling because I just can't roll them any harder.
Absolutely worth it.
So I don't think TSA will let me take that on the plane with me. So should I just buy one when I get there?
Yeah.
I don't think they'll let me take it into the arena either.
Or just like print the meme that I sent in the group chat at Walmart and then take the sign.
Could do that.
Just give it to like one of the guys and just have them bring it in.
All right, guys. Anything else you want to add tonight?
Dogs. There we go.
I couldn't have said it better. But no, I like this. This is something that Utica fans haven't seen. I mean, we haven't really advanced in a playoff series before. We've come close, but never have. And, Syracuse's playoff record was not very good either. So I think we're all in the same boat. Players, those key five, and then the fans. Seeing this team, and I've seen a lot of playoff teams. This team has that the it factor. It's coming in at the right time, hot. Beating all of these playoff teams at home on the road, they're definitely ready to make a deep run, and they deserve this championship. They deserve it.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, the ball's in their court now, and if there's one thing we could say to them, it's that if you want something, you got to just take it. So go out there, take this game on the road, come back to Utica with a win in your back pocket, and we want the blast.
Oh, yes. I will be. I definitely want to boo Nelson Santana the entire game.
Yeah.
Yet again.
Hopefully last time.
All right. I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, social media, you can find us on Instagram at Keepers Corner Pod. You can find us on Facebook. Just look for Keepers Corner Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Keepers Corner PD. We got the TeePublic. Ooh, I should mention there will be something probably out after this episode. You might have seen it by the time you get around to listening. Due to popular demand from fans, players, coaches, and staff from the team, those custom Utica Club jerseys that you've seen us wearing, I'm going to be bringing them back for a second run. There will be details on how you can contact us to order your own. Put whatever name you want on it. Put whatever number you want on it. Don't think they'll be here in time for obviously they won't be here in time for this playoff game. Probably not for the Eastern Conference Final. But with any luck, we can get that order in, and they'll be here in time to welcome San Diego.
Or
Chihuahua. Yeah, I'd rather welcome San Diego. We owe them after last year.
Yeah,
I want that rematch.
Give me Chihuahua. I don't want to see San Diego in a final again.
Yeah,
nope.
I mean, all right, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you for listening. I'm Matt.
You gonna let the guest shout out anything if
Mr. Huber's got to plug his pluggables.
I don't have a lot of pluggables, but I mean, in the box, whenever I get to it on Facebook, don't know how much of that I'll be doing in the off season. I probably should do something Thursday. Be on the lookout for that. I'll do a show Thursday, and that's pretty much it.
Hey, don't you worry, Huber. I got you. I'm going to make sure you get those pluggables. This guy was going to forget you.
That's it's fine. It's fine with me. We're good.
All right.
Such an ungracious host.
Yeah, my bad. I'm terrible. All right. Thanks for coming on tonight, Matt.
Anytime.
Safe travels to Milwaukee. We'll see you on Sunday.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for everyone listening. Matt, Brandon. Peace out. Go Utica.
Let's go.
Dogs.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica.